Hi everyone, Namaste to all, and a very good morning. Today we are going to see the next lesson, that is history lesson. Tracing changes through 8,000 years means from starting point. For example, if we started to 1900 to 2900, like that 1,000 years what happened, that we are going to study. So here in 7th standard we are going to study from 8th century to 17th century, means 700 to 1700 what happened here in India, that we are going to see. So tracing changes through 8,000 years. So when we are seeing that one history book and the listening the history stories and all, we are feeling very difficult. This is the QR code of your lesson. So what we are going to do, we are going to make a change in that one, not in traditional way. We are going to make some different thing. So first of all, we will listen a small rhyme what we studied, not rhyme, the fairy tale developed from rhyme what we studied in KG classes, before primary classes. It may be in nursery or in KG, or some students may learn like that small rhymes at home when you was very small. So let us watch that one, then we will go to some other part of the first related to one rhyme. We are going to see a fairy tale, then after fairy tale we will watch a history of that one, history behind that rhyme. So one rhyme what we studied in KG class, we are going to see different two aspects. So in history also we are doing the same thing only. We are learning some of the dates, some of the events, and with the different aspects we want to understand. To understand that part, what we are going to do, we are going to see a rhyme as a fairy tale, and afterwards we will see the history behind that particular rhyme. Wow. He likes this song.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. The end. But that makes for a very short, boring, nonsensical story. Let's try that again, shall we? Ahem. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall and narrowly avoided having a great fall, because all the king's horses and all the king's men said, "Don't sit on that wall, it's windy, my friend." Humpty Dumpty considered their words and realized sitting atop walls is absurd. He carefully climbed down till his feet touched the ground, and King of Safety, Humpty Dumpty, was crowned. Humpty Dumpty worked at a pace that was brisk. He made signs, he made rules, helping all avoid risk. "Don't sit there, don't stand there, be careful up high." He ordered, he pestered, and he wasn't shy. Eventually the people had all had enough. His signs and his rules prevented fun stuff. Whether something to do or someplace to go, Humpty Dumpty placed warnings, and they all said no.
"But I want to jump over this candlestick. I promise I'm nimble. I swear that I'm quick."
"But my family needs water. I must fill this pail. My sister Jill and I surely won't fail." Soon all the king's horses and all the king's men grew tired of the rules and wanted an end. So while Humpty slept, though it took them some time, they went around the kingdom and changed a few signs. At dawn, Humpty Dumpty awoke with a smirk. He walked around the town to see all his work. When walking about proved tiring and hot, he needed to sit and soon found a safe spot. So Humpty then sat on that very same wall, and when the wind blew, he had a great fall. And all the king's horses and all the king's men would never have to listen to Humpty again. But when Humpty landed hard on the ground, he didn't break. Instead, he bounced up and down. Bouncing, not broken? What was the matter? He's an egg after all. He should splatter and shatter. The king's horses and men were all quite confused, while Humpty kept on bouncing, looking quite amused. Their plan to get rid of Humpty Dumpty had been foiled because, children, to be safe, he'd had himself hard-boiled.
Now, for time being, we are going to see the meaning or the history behind the same poem, Humpty Dumpty, what we studied in KG classes. Why? We are going to see history in 7th standard, that is for of 1000 years. And we are going to see here a small poem, how it developed, or what is the history behind this. English may be little bit difficult to people, so listen second time if you can't understand, because it is not Indian English what we are using. Little bit difficult it may be for some students, but we can understand from the picture what is they are giving in the behind. So watch it and we will continue our class.
Led by King Charles I and the parliamentarians led by Oliver Cromwell. Humpty Dumpty was believed to be a large mortar that was used during the battle in the siege of Colchester in 1648. Colchester was strongly fortified by the Royalists and was laid to siege by the parliamentarians. In 1648 the town had a castle and several churches which were protected by a surrounding city wall. Standing adjacent to the city wall was St Mary's Church and a huge mortar, commonly referred to as Humpty Dumpty, which was strategically placed on the wall next to the church. A shot from a parliamentary mortar succeeded in damaging the wall and caused Humpty Dumpty to tumble to the ground. The soldiers attempted to raise Humpty Dumpty onto another part of the wall. However, because the mortar was so heavy, all the king's horses, the cavalry, and all the king's men, the soldiers, couldn't put Humpty together again. This had a drastic consequence for the Royalists. After a siege lasting 11 weeks, the strategically important town of Colchester fell to the parliamentarians.
In textbook we are having one Indian map here, but it is not showed here in a e-book, and when it is coming I will take a photo of that particular page and I will send to you after this lesson video. Then map 1, it is saying about a section of the world map drawn by the geographer Idrisi in the 12th century, showing the Indian subcontinent from the land to sea. So it is drawn by Idrisi, Idrisi, Idrisi. You can write that one. Idrisi, he was a geographer who is drawing the who is studied about the different landforms and about different continent and also. And what is his contribution? He made a map of India or Indian subcontinent in which century? In 12th century. So take a book at map 1 and 2, and map 1 was made in 1154 CE, means Common Era, by Arab geographer Al-Idrisi. The section reproduced here in a detail of Indian subcontinent from his larger map of the world. What we are taken here, what we was here in the textbook, that was a small part of the graph who made Al-Idrisi. He made a world map. From that we taken a small part of, means that particular part of India we taken separately. Then we can see here in next page another one map. Okay, you can see another one map, and it is map 2. The subcontinent from the early 18th century Atlas Naview of the Guillaume d'Ilsley. So Ilsley drawn another one map. He is from a European continent, and he drawn that map in 18th century. So the first map drawn in 12th century and the second map drawn in 18th century. So there are lots of difference in both the map. Even the area, geographical area, what they showed here in India, in both map it is entirely different. So we are going to compare that one. And the map 2 was made in 1720 by a French cartographer. Cartographer means a person. Here it is given the meaning. You can see that cartographer, a person who makes map. Cartographer means a person who makes map. Then the two maps are quite different even though they are of the same area. It is both of them drawn about Indian subcontinent, not the present India, what the old India. Subcontinent means you studied in 6th standard. 7-8 countries together it was making. Pakistan, India, Nepal, Burma, then Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and parts of Maldives. Altogether we are making the Indian subcontinent, and both of them made the Indian subcontinent only, but it was entirely different. So my question is, who made the first map in about India in 12th century? Al-Idrisi. Answer is Al-Idrisi, and he was a Arab geographer. He was a Arab geographer, and he made his map in 1154. 1154 CE he made his map. Then second map made by a French cartographer, means a person who is making maps. He is specialized in making map, and in which year? 1720. Like this question may ask us a objective type question. So today you can make 4 objective type question. You are on self-made question with answer. It may be MCQs, it may be fill in the blanks, it may be true or false, like that questions you can make. How many? 5 questions. What is your homework today? Make 5 questions from history first lesson. Objective 5 questions from history first lesson. So we are moving to next sentence. The 2 maps are quite different even though they are made the same area. In Al-Idrisi map, South India is where we would expect to find North India, and Sri Lanka is the island at the top. And place names are marked in Arabic. So in Al-Idrisi, he is from Arab geographer, so he marked all the places in Arabic. So it is difficult to read for us nowadays. And the place what should be there, South India, it is he marked as a North India. And Sri Lanka, it was little more upside, like that he marked. Why it is? Because he was a geographer, not a cartographer. And there are some well-known names like Kanauj in the Uttar Pradesh, spelt in the map like Kanauj. That may be pronunciation according to Arabic pronunciation, they may given the spell of that particular word. Then map 2 was made nearly 600 years later. Map 1, during which time information about subcontinent had changed considerably. So in when we made the first map in 12th century, our understanding about our subcontinent was entirely different, and when we made the second map in 1720, by that time we got more information about our own subcontinent or other people also. These maps seem more familiar to us, and the coastal areas in particular areas surprisingly detailed. And in the second map, it is given more or less same shape what we are seeing the present Indian map and all, and given the details, very details it is given. I will enlarge it, then you can see it. And it is difficult to read, okay, I agreed, but in a coastal area many small areas names also they mention where they can come and get down all the details they mention. Then next one, this map seems more familiar to us, and coastal areas in particular are surprisingly detailed. This map was used by European sailors for what purpose? What was the aim of this second map making? For the sailors' purpose, those who are coming through water or ocean and merchant on their voyage. Those who are coming by a ship from European continent, merchants and sailors needed. For that purpose, he made the second map, or the French cartographer, he made the map. So he given maximum details about the coastal areas. So many questions you can see here. Who made the first map, and in which year, and in which who was he, like that many questions you can make it in the form of MCQs or fill in the blanks or true or false. For example, in the Arab geographer Al-Idrisi made a map of India in 1254 CE. Whether it true or false, then what is the answer? It is false, because the year we changed. Instead of 1154, what I said, 1254. Like that questions you can make, and you can send to me in the assignment and class test or not in that one. And I hope that yesterday's note already what I have sent with the worksheet you completed and almost completed, or you will complete and send to me today itself. Then we are moving to next part. Look at the areas in the interior of the subcontinent on map 2. Are there are details as those of the coastal? This is the activity what we should do. This is the activity, or we should ask question. Follow this course of the river Ganga and see how it is shown. Why do you think there is a difference in the level of detail and accuracy between the coastal and the island areas in the map? We already discussed that one. What was the aim? For it meant for the European sailors and for the merchants who is coming through ship. So they may given maximum details of the coastal area. They may not taken that much about the interior places. Then next one, equally important is that the fact that science of cartography different in two periods. Another important fact that the science of cartography, it is entirely different, and we have seen first person was a geographer. He was not a perfect or scientifically cartographer, but second person was a cartographer. Then also he made the changes in that one. In coastal area he given maximum details, and interior area he never given that much details. Then when historians read documents, maps and text from the past, they have to sensitive to the different historical background. So whenever we are reading something in newspaper or in textbook, we should be sensitive to related to that program or that time, like that. The context in which the formation about the past was produced. From where this thing taken, like that. If you have, for example, Humpty Dumpty story, history we have seen. Can we think that one that is the only reality or something else? Okay, you can find out like that, something different one, or in which context they made that history, like that things you can find out. Okay, now we are moving to next topic, that is the new and old terminology. We said like that, geographer, cartographer, like that. Is it same or it is different, like that? In the same way, what was the olden days terminology for particular thing? What is the new days terminology? Not now. It is about up to 1700. Up to that time only we are going to think. If the context in which information is produced change with the time, what about language and meaning? Surely according to the context the information it is changing. Then what about the language? Surely it will change. For example, here in Tamil Nadu, our mother tongue is Tamil, and what we are expressing in front of others about particular issue. For example, nowadays Corona, that issue, that our understanding of the Tamil Nadu people, they are understanding deeply what they said in Tamil. At the same time, if we are watching BBC news, we may not be go that much deeper because that is not our own mother tongue. Like that differences in generally we can see. And meaning or meaning for we have discussed, I think last year, the one word having many meanings. For example, bed. Bed is the thing what we are using to sleep. Another one, the area where the farmer is making to be ready for new cropping. And another one, the lower level of the ocean or sea, river, it is known as bed. So like this, many meanings having for a particular word. So according to that, the situation or context, even meaning, it will change. Then historical records exist in the very variety of languages which have changed considerably over the years. Then when we are thinking about the language, for example, Tamil, you have started to study Tirukkural 6th standard onwards. Before itself you may study, but 6th standard onwards you are having that one. And that Tirukkural Tamil is entirely different from what Tamil we are studying in other lessons. The new Tamil, it is entirely different. And at the same time, the local Tamil, what we are using to speak in our at home and in our school, that Tamil is entirely different from textbook Tamil. So in the same way, historical records, survey conducted like that, or census taken, all the records what they written, how they written in that in a particular language, that language style may change in a historical time. Then medieval Persian, for example, is different from the modern Persian. Persia, where it is? Where is Persia? You can find out where is Persia, or we can say Gulf countries, like that. So the medieval Persia, it is entirely different from the modern Persia. then that is language, Persian language. The difference is not just with regard to grammar and vocabulary. The meaning of the word also change over time. For example, we are having like that some local usage of some language that is entirely different according to time. Time to time it used to change. Then take the term Hindu is Hindustan. For example, today we understand it as India. Hindustan means India. In modern nation state, where India as a modern nation state means the present democratic country India, that is we was calling like Hindustan in olden days, like that we are understanding. When the term was used in the 13th century by Minhaj-i-Siraj, a chronicler who wrote in Persian, he meant the area of Punjab, Haryana and the islands between the Ganga and Yamuna. So the person who coined that word, or who started to use in his books about India, and he meant the area, very small area, that is Punjab state, present Haryana state and the land between Ganga and Yamuna. It is coming very small area, and he used the term a political sense of the land that were part of domination of Delhi Sultan. Where the Delhi Sultan was ruling that area only, he meant, who meant Minhaj-i-Siraj. He was a chronicler who was writing and keeping the events according to the time. Let me check the word meaning. It is given. I think chronicler word meaning is not given in textbook. Already you studied in 6th standard, and chronicler means the person who is writing and keeping the details of the events according to the date. Okay, then next one. The areas included in this term shifted with the context of the Sultanate, but the term never included South India. Then when Sultanate become a little more bigger, that word Hindustan word also, that area it is developed because Delhi Sultanate, they started to capture other areas also, but never they reached to South India, so it was not included South India. By contrast, in the early 16th century, Babur used Hindustan to describe the geography, the fauna and the culture of the inhabitants of the subcontinent. So the Babur, when he started to use the Hindustan, he used that one in a little more large way, and he started to use the Indian subcontinent totally. He started to think about the inhabitants of all the countries included Indian subcontinent, means Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Burma, all together. Okay, I will stop here and I will continue in next video as a small video.